Okay. I can hear myself, so I know I have audio. So that's good. I can see myself. So, alright. Alright. Episode 1, Technical Difficulties. Charlie is off camera. He will be joining in a minute. So, I guess the reason we're starting this is basically his fault. Because you decided to get attention at the LP convention, which we'll talk about later. And in the process of getting attention, we decided it might be worth our time for your thoughts to be put out, and my thoughts to a lesser extent. I consider myself an interested observer, and Charlie can debate this if he wants, but I would call him an amateur activist. He knows more about things going on than me. I'll ask him questions, and then we'll end up devolving into a 2-hour bull session where nothing gets done at the shop, and we both come away with a slightly deeper understanding of some esoteric topic. So that's kind of what this is going to be. Hopefully, instead of wasting time during the week, we can waste time in a random evening and just talking to each other here. So, just a bull session about anything that comes to mind. Anything we think of that we want to talk about, we can note it down, and then we'll set up a time and stream it. I guess on the name of this episode, Technical Difficulties and the LNC 1 week in review. So we'll get to the LNC when Charlie is done ranting. But technical difficulties, we thought about running this on Tuesday. He got back on Monday, and he had to go home pretty much right after. And Tuesday, we had talked about this a little bit Monday, so started thinking about it. And Tuesday, I got a camera that I had, and I started playing around with live streaming, trying to figure out how to set it up on my computer. And it has taken until now to get to where I think it's actually streaming. It looks like we're live.
Yeah.
I see Barfo, and I see Mr. John Henry. Sorry, I'm not too familiar with who he is. You probably know him better than me. I'm not sure. But
Henry?
Yeah. But anyway, looks like we're live. I've spent this week with technical difficulties, a camera that doesn't work as a camera, and then microphones that don't work as microphones, and then I don't understand technology, so trying to set up live streaming has been education.
Been difficult.
Yes.
Yeah. And we also got to make sure we look up a little bit. Don't want to look like we're staring at our phones, so we might have to put a screen that we can see.
Yeah.
Let's see who we got here.
Might
John
have to change
Henry.
some things set up here.
I'm so sure who John is myself. I probably met him off the net. I don't know.
Let's see.
Worst casting couch ever?
Right, hold on.
The question is who's top and who's bottom is the question.
That's incest.
As said, worst casting couch ever.
Alright. Is our audio any good?
Yeah, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Let's see. See if Barfo's say anything.
I mean, I've got it.
We
My
might
phone
need
is buffering.
we might need to switch our
Yeah, I think I'm gonna turn.
we
my
might need to
voice
switch
off.
our phones because we're trying to push everything through the Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually,
Let me see.
the thing is, I need to fill live chat because I can't read. I can see it and I can type to the live chat from here.
Yeah,
So
just use your phone. I'm just using my
Oh.
phone for the live chat. I'll talk in there.
well, my phone's logged into a different account.
Oh, you want to seem official?
Yes.
You want to seem real? You might have to put your computer like up front.
Yeah.
Bring your computer closer or something. Because it would also help, like, to look straight ahead so we don't like look forward like this in our phones.
Unimportant. Yep. I misspelled it, but it's sent. So.
Yeah, you figure it out. It's all right.
Yeah, we'll work on
Got
improving.
three people, which I'm one of them. So far, folks, we've
I'm one of them. Yeah. Well, that means they have to.
four now. We have four now. All right. Okay. Don't want to sit here and make it look like I'm staring. So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's just. How do we do? Anything good to do that? There. That way I can see the chat. So let's do. Someone says something.
So I guess start
Chit chat. What do you got to say?
how was your weekend?
Drunk.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So
what happened?
okay. Well, for the most part, I think went pretty chill. There was some little shenanigans here or there, but overall, you show up, you do all the kind of bureaucratic mumbo jumbo where you get your paperwork and stuff like that. But it was really cool seeing people that you only know online, or you rarely ever see. Like when I went to Arizona in the winter, I had really hoped that I would have gotten a day to try and go see some people we know in Arizona. Didn't work out. I didn't even get a taco in Arizona. That's how disappointing Arizona was. But being able to see those people then in person was really great. I will say it started really cold as far as like people from Michigan being really cold, like kind of hostile with each other. And I think by the end of the weekend, that was one of the big takeaways is that was a lot better. Now, I don't anticipate that lasting. It'll last as long as somebody starts a fight, which I'm assuming somebody's already started a fight somewhere. But I don't know. So we'll find out. But yeah, so everyone showed up that evening. We got to see a bunch of people we didn't know and knew. And then the next day, business started. So pretty much the first day was just have fun, party. And business is business. I mean, you sit at a table for hours on end. And yeah, what I think my takeaway about the thing was everyone knew what everybody was there for. Everybody was there to vote for new people to run shit. That's why we were there. Vote for people. And everyone kind of pretty much knew who they were going to vote for before you even started. So it was like the cards were already out. Like we already knew, what was happening. People had a couple cards that they were holding close to their chest. But pretty much it was all laid out on the table in front of us. And it was literally just, we need to play them and vote. And they spent forever dealing with bylaws. Meetings weren't starting on time, which that's kind of typical. Like you're trying to get a bunch of people who don't want to be told what to do into one spot to do the thing. But at the same time, there are all these speeches. And not that I'm knocking necessarily people that are talking, but a lot of the speeches could have been done at different times. And it just like by lunchtime, every day at lunch, it was like, did we do anything all morning? And almost every day it was like, no, we did nothing. So that's kind of like criticism I have. It's more of like the planning and the organization. I understand that like if you do the most important thing first, then everyone will be like, I don't care about the rest of this time. I'm just gonna go. But at the same time, if you do the most important thing first, then we know we get that work done because it got to the point where it was rushed. At-large positions were not completely filled by the end of convention. And then JC, Judicial Committee positions were not filled by the end of convention either. And people can debate whether, there's a rule says you can appoint and do this or that. The body only meets every 2 years. They were there to put people in those positions. They should have put people in those positions. And the body alone, in my opinion. And it's fine if they're not filled for them to be filled. But because of the planning, it was, I think, poorly done. So I think it's going to cause some problems, and I don't really necessarily have. I mean, I do have personal opinions on what people do or say, but I think a lot of my opinions about other people don't really matter that much, as far as like out of state and things go. Like, I mean, it's going to come up, but LPNH, where New Hampshire, was eventually voted to be disaffiliated. Now there's a process, but part of the problem is that it has to go back to what's called the Judicial Committee. The Judicial Committee is like, I believe, 5 people. I believe, off the top of my head, only 2 people were appointed or were voted for. Only 2 people, and they weren't voted by huge swaths. It wasn't like 90% of the people there wanted them. It was like barely making it type thing. So if only 2 people made it on the Judicial Committee, and the very first order of business is we have to deal with this, most likely an appeal of New Hampshire being disaffiliated. I understand people who sit there and go, well, the rules are the rules, blah, blah, blah. And I'm not arguing about that. I'm saying is the perception is that people are trying to force things through. I think it means that there's not a consensus there and other things. So I think it's kind of a bad, in my opinion, it's a bad look for that to be the first thing that happens. But whatever, it'll play out, and it may or may not play out to the way I believe. Over time, I've slowly been myself becoming much more, I wouldn't say hostile to New Hampshire, but much more like, hey, I understand you want to be radical or whatever, but there's a difference between being radical and being wrong. And there's a huge difference there. It's perfectly fine to say something like, we want to get rid of the Civil Rights Act. Agreed. I don't see a problem with getting rid of the Civil Rights Act. I think it's unconstitutional personally. But it's another thing to then say what's perceived as racist or other things. And I understand some of the like racial realism stuff where they're dipping in, where they're like, statistically, people of this type are more likely to do this, and it gets really touchy how you make those decisions and how you make those assumptions. And I don't believe people are like, it gets into human psychology and all this stuff, and I think it's well beyond what the Libertarian Party should be focused on. Shouldn't be even worried about that. I don't care. Like, we shouldn't be sitting here going, okay, you're black and statistically you might be doing something wrong, so we're gonna, restrict your access or whatever. We say is, look, we have rules, and if you break them, like you aggress upon someone, you're gone. So I don't understand why they would let their messaging. In my mind, it's not radical. In my mind, it's much more. It's off-putting to be polite about it. But on the flip side, I have never had anyone use LPNH or as a reason why they're not a libertarian. I've never had that. Or why they wouldn't give money. I've had internal libertarians who are very involved, have very strong opinions, and are dedicated to libertarianism in their mind. I've had them tell me that. I've had them tell me, I don't want to be part of the party because of them. I don't want to donate because of them. I've never had an outside person say that to me. Have I had an outside person show me stuff that New Hampshire said? Yeah, I have. But only people who are looking for things to criticize them, not over people who are like, I don't understand, or this kind of makes me nervous about being maybe getting involved. I've never had any of that type of thing. It's always been like, I hate libertarians, and here's a perfect example of why I hate libertarians. And the person doesn't like libertarians to begin with, so it doesn't matter. It was a waste of space. So I don't know. I think that's going to be interesting. So we were there to elect officers. I think the way that officers were elected, especially the Judicial Committee, it's going to lead to fighting. And it doesn't matter what the rules are, bylaws are, whatever, blah, blah, blah. In Michigan, we've just seen the weaponization, in my mind, of bylaws and committees and bureaucracy and process and procedure. It's weaponized. And when you weaponize the process and procedure, it just becomes a cluster. And I think ultimately that's a problem. And so having the right officers, you eliminate those excuses. Because I guarantee, I've already seen it coming out, well, the Judicial Committee isn't legitimate. Now we're going to have a drawn out debate over what is legit, what isn't legit. And once we're done having this debate over what is and what isn't legitimate, then we're going to have a debate over, is the process being followed properly and all these other things. So it's going to become a mess, and we'll see what happens. I personally think, I personally think that disaffiliation isn't going to make New Hampshire stop doing what they're doing. It's going to have to be enforced. That means it's going to have to be enforced legally, which I hate legal stuff like IP law and stuff. It goes against platform. It goes against libertarian stuff. I'm not for it. I've seen what it does in the organization. And then also when it comes to spooling up another libertarian party in New Hampshire, because a lot of people, they want 50 state ballot access. And to spool up another party in New Hampshire, how are they going to keep it from being infiltrated and taken back over? Now, I hear a lot of people say that the Libertarian in New Hampshire doesn't represent libertarians in New Hampshire. They might be correct. They might not be correct. I don't know. I don't live in New Hampshire. But it seems to be telling me that, in a way, it does. And, that's how it is. And, I mean, the Libertarian Party of Michigan is dysfunctional and a mess. And I'm going to tell you, it represents the membership 100%. The membership, the people in Michigan are dysfunctional. They're a mess. The party is exactly that same thing. So I think it's a perfect reflection of the people. So we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. So I would say that of the orders of business, officers were high priority, and then honestly dealing with this LPNH issue was also another big deal for a lot of people for various reasons. I think that we should have gotten the officers elected like we should have, and then somebody should have made a motion to bring up LPNH and let's line up and talk it out. Would they have talked it out in a reasonable way? Well, people got ejected, and they didn't even get to that part, so yeah.
Well, it's my understanding, because I wasn't there.
Mm.
I meant to show up, but I got sick, and I spent the weekend watching everybody through the Swampcast, which shout out to our friends.
Yeah.
For streaming the whole thing. The official LP stream, I don't care what anyone else says.
Yeah.
Very true. So I woke up Friday afternoon and jumped in to start watching the stream.
Yeah.
And so I didn't see this happening, but I think you said that there were motions to bring up the disaffiliation of New Hampshire during convention that got struck down.
So it's messy because I don't remember every single thing that happened. I do think people wanted to, for multiple reasons. One is I think that people wanted to bring it up. I think because they wanted to kick him out. Kick him out. Let's vote.
Yeah.
I think other people wanted to bring it up because they knew it wouldn't have enough support. So people who are just they don't know what's going on around them. They're just obsessed with a certain problem from whichever side you're on. I think they both wanted to come up. I think the people that are obsessed about getting rid of New Hampshire and are convinced that the reason the Libertarian Party is failing is because of New Hampshire, instead of realizing the Libertarian Party is failing because of them, probably, or that people aren't doing the work. Like, is the Libertarian Party of New York without ballot access and, in my mind, failing because of New Hampshire? No. Is the Libertarian Party of Michigan dysfunctional and, in my mind, failing because of New Hampshire? No. Michigan's failing because we're doing a bad job. And so I think a lot of people want to blame New Hampshire for their own faults instead of addressing them. And I think the people that are so fixated on that, they're misunderstanding, and I don't think that New Hampshire would have been disaffiliated by that vote. I think that there wouldn't have been enough. I don't know the rules, so who knows what the rule? But I don't see how. So the body of the members runs everything. The board voted to disaffiliate. If the board can vote, the body of people can vote. So in my mind, and I don't know what the thresholds would be, most likely there wasn't a threshold of the people in that room who would have done it. There was a lot, but probably not enough. So if they had a vote to get rid of them, most likely, I think personally it would have failed. I could be wrong about that, but I think it would fail. And then what would happen is if they tried to disaffiliate them at the LNC, like they did, I'm using broad terms of they. I'm not focusing on a specific person. I'm saying a group of people did. If it was voted to disaffiliate them, then there would be a vote actually recorded on the floor that would have said don't do it, and it would have been a big problem. It wouldn't have been able to disaffiliate. So I don't think it was possible to disaffiliate them from the floor of the convention. I don't think they had the numbers there. They may have had the numbers by the end of the day, weekend, by how they were acting. Because I'll definitely tell you that if you start punching people, you start beating people, you start being rude like they were, and like it's one thing to kind of troll. Like Grumpy Gnome was kind of trolling, and he was saying things like, if you vote for me, you're a retard. There's one. It's one thing to kind of troll, or even to make a point like the party is failing. We should just disintegrate and go away. There's points to be made there. There's other points when you're calling someone a gay faggot. Like that's uncalled for.
Yeah.
It's also uncalled for to scream "you're a Nazi" while someone's trying to make a point. So either way, it's a mess. But I don't think that there would have been a vote. A vote from the floor, I don't think would have passed sufficiently to disaffiliate them. Regardless of how I feel about it. And I most likely would have voted to disaffiliate, to be honest, especially by the end of the weekend. Because what they've been saying comes across more and less libertarian to me, and also the way they were acting in the room. They definitely don't want to be part of us. I don't want them to be part of us as far as that part goes. But they probably would have stayed, to be honest. So, but that's drama that's going on. But instead of focusing on officers, And the thing that everyone's fixated on, which is LP&H, we decided to first discuss bylaws forever. And I don't even know what all the bylaws I went through were off the top of my head. It's all like in the weeds stuff that, I mean, I could sit there and say, okay, this makes sense or that makes sense, but like, thing that people don't understand is like tweaking rules to get people to do what they're supposed to do. I don't see how anyone thinks that is practical or productive. People have to want to work together. They have to want to succeed. They have to want to follow the rules. I have never like rules are meant to be broken. I've never seen a list of rules ever or policies ever get people to do the right thing. Never seen that. I've worked in factories where we have, these giant operator manuals that say when you make a scrap part, you're supposed to put it in this container and log it in this way. And records were never accurate, ever, because if you made a scrap part, then, oh, well, must have made a mistake. It must be your fault, even if it isn't your fault. So I never saw those records as accurate. And then even if they were accurate, let's say the scrap numbers were accurate, we would always have a situation where you'd have a manager who has like a bonus riding on a certain number in his scrap counts. So they'll be like, well, we can handle an inventory loss this month. We can't handle a scrap loss this month. So even
It's changing its field of view.
it's weird. Must have to change that, turn the auto off, however that works.
Is it done?
No, I don't think so. I'm not seeing any change though on the screen here though.
Oh, no, it is.
Oh, it is?
Oh, no. The illusion is ruined. You can see just how shitty things look outside the screen. Like
Like
there's a extension
Yeah.
cable hanging.
that? Well, it is a technical difficulties episode.
Yes.
And we're also in the shop.
Yeah.
So we're not in
No.
any
No.
fancy
Kind of
place.
half the point is that this is informal.
And this is informal, so we'll see. But what I was trying to say is that trying to perfect your policies, bylaws, your
You can keep
platform.
talking, the audio's still good.
Trying to perfect all of those things don't really help, because if the people don't follow the rules, if management doesn't follow the rules, if people don't have integrity or respect for each other, it doesn't matter what the rules are. And so what I saw in that room was a bunch of people who they're willing to push the rules to their limit or weaponize them to get the result they wanted, and they also had zero respect for each other on all sides. And to be clear, it was a minority of people who were like that. A minority of people. It wasn't everybody is like that. It was a minority of people are like that. And that's just kind of how it was. So, but we did a bunch of bylaws stuff, which is kind of boring. And I don't know what all of them are. I don't think we ever got the platform, which is fine. We don't need to change the platform. It's fine. I mean, if anything, I'll get rid of it. Like, just cut. Like, less platform, the better, in my mind. It's like, we don't have to have a position on, every single thing in the world. We have general guiding principles, and that's it. And so, that's my take on those things. But one item that there was that kept coming up in the bylaws, and it seemed like there were specific people that were trying to push it, is they're trying to push a, and again, this vague they is just a placeholder for whoever was doing it. Different people were doing different things at different times. But there's a group of people who they wanted to have what's called seasoning requirements. So it would make it harder for, like, let's claim infiltration. So, I think at one point they said you need to be a member of the party for 2 years, and you can't have lapsed your membership. And membership means you paid for it. So okay, I mean, that's how we're defining who's. I mean, it's behind who's a member of the Libertarian Party. I mean, but if we're playing the whole who's a real libertarian game, it's like, okay, well, all right. So if you're RFK Jr. and you maintain your membership like he does, I mean, you're a libertarian. Okay, cool. Like, no.
Yeah.
So membership doesn't really mean you're a libertarian. And another thing is
Doing a little simple libertarian math. 1 + 1 = 0. There's one libertarian in a room, there's one libertarian in a room. If there are two libertarians in a room, there are 0 libertarians in a room.
yeah. That's very true. So,
Yeah, the purity, that's why I think generally any purity tests, any purity spiraling is pointless.
so these weren't purity. These seasonings were not purity based. They were just time and money based. So you had to pay your dues. That's the money and time. You had to be 2 years, and you can't let your dues expire for 30 days. Or else it resets. One, it would be a logistical hurdle. Now, logistical hurdle is just a technical problem. That's an engineering problem. It's easily solved. I don't see logistics as an issue as far as that goes. But like, let's put it in perspective with Michigan. In Michigan, pretty much like if you show up to the convention in Michigan and you're like, "Oh, I'm libertarian. I'm showing up to the convention," they go, "Are you a member?" "Oh, you're passed on your dues. You're not a member anymore." "Well, how much are dues?" "Whatever it is, $35 or whatever it is." You pay them right then and there. You're good to go. So I could literally, let's say we had a convention yesterday. My membership in Michigan, we had a convention yesterday. My membership could expire today, and I think we keep track for like 3 years. So if we're not keeping track, you have to prove it. But basically, I think we keep track for about 3 years, and then after that, we kind of assume you're like dead or something. So you just kind of get purged out, and that's just documentation stuff. I don't think it specifically state. There might be a time limit, but like if you could prove that you had been a member 20 years ago and then you just paid up your due, well, you're a member again, as far as that goes. So I did to double check, but I think that's how it works. So anyway, having kicking people out after 30 days for not having paid, that seems a little ridiculous. And 2 years is crazy to me for seasoning. And I also don't think it also makes it really top down. So we're going to try and dictate who's a member from the top down when the Libertarian Party is bottom up. And I agree that there's problems with a bottom up party. I think it's kind of obvious that we have problems because we're bottom up where there's a lot of fighting. You can do these takeovers that people have been doing. But I'm firmly in belief that if you do the work, you put in the time, you start from the bottom up and you work your way up, you're not going to have really problems. You might have people here and there, and you just need to do the work at the local level to take care of it. And I think that's what the Libertarian Party needs, is we need a culture of excellence from the bottom up. We need to be the best libertarian. We need to be the best person, just a good human. And I think that would solve a lot of our bylaw problems and things of that nature. And so, as far as I'm concerned, the national committee, the national party, it should have as little power as possible, and let people do what they got to do. So, yeah,
The National Party should basically just be a vehicle for keeping the state parties alive.
it's a way to organize,
You need
to support each other when you need it, and it facilitates running a national election, specifically like a presidential election. I've had people correct me. Well, we have national elections every year. Well, okay. Well, what I mean is we have one person on the ballot in all 50 states, or attempt to, and that only happens every 4 years for the president's spot. So that's all that is. So national party should really be doing that. It should be helping with infrastructure, but I don't think that it should be necessarily centralizing all the data or all funds go through it. No, it should be from the bottom and it should go up, in my mind, and it should be have as little impact as possible. So, but we'll see exactly how it ends up. But I'm optimistic, to be perfectly honest. I am fairly optimistic. So I think people are kind of tired. I mean, this might go into like why I opened my fat mouth there. Is that when I showed up at convention, I got this sense that people were kind of tired. And for a while, I've been asking people, like, what are your thoughts? And there are a lot of people who were kind of, and specifically about, like, the vice chair position. We had a couple of, I think, solid choices for chair. And not that we didn't have solid choices for vice chair, but the vice chair definitely seemed to me to be more, have more of a potential for fighting. So there are a few different people that are supported by different factions, or whatever you want to call them. And I was afraid that one faction gets control, it's going to cause fighting. Because you have two problems. One is if you have a dysfunctional board, which I think the last one was, where you have people in there just screaming and fighting and arguing. It's kind of like the Michigan board right now. We have people on the board who don't want to work together. It's going to be dysfunctional. It's going to fail. So we were either going to have a dysfunctional board, or we were going to have a ideological kind of slide one way or the other that would cause more fighting. Oh, when you were in control, you did this. We're in control now. We're going to do this. Back and forth, kind of like Republican, Democrat, back and forth, back and forth. Very similar type situation. And I wanted to avoid that. And I was most concerned about the VC position, less concerned about the chair position. But because like several, like one of the chairs, but the one who got it, Evan, he runs Indiana. I met him personally. He made it very clear that he hates it when national messes with the state. And I'm like, cool. If you're going to leave us alone, great. You just want to run an organization, have the organization operate effectively, great. Leave us alone. That's all I care about. Just leave us alone. Don't meddle, don't pick sides, don't whatever. Leave us alone. If we need help, we'll ask you. There's another guy, Jim. Jim seemed fine. I had no problem with Jim. He's a nice guy. He didn't seem like a guy who runs organizations, though. He was kind of the old guy. He came second.
Was he? He's been a part of the Libertarian Party, like operationally for a while, right?
He's
like
been
kind of a back end.
I don't know about back. He's been involved for a very long time. Forever. Been around forever. So, yeah, he's been around for a long time. It's just like one of the things, like if you're the chair, you're like running a meeting. He just didn't seem to be that's not kind of the guy. I think I believe he's a lawyer, and he does different litigation. And so I bet he is great at reading through election law and arguing a case. I don't know if he's great at a team of people managing that team to execute something. Yeah. So that's where that was. That's, but I didn't think he'd be a problem per se. It's whatever. And then there's Wes Benedict, who mentioned Michigan in his little talk.
Because he said, fine for me then.
Yeah.
For him.
Yeah, he said he became a libertarian on U of M campus, meeting a Michigan libertarian. And he's like, oh, okay. But he's an operations guy. He was like the executive, he was the party exec. So there's people that run things. So the board is the government.
I think I got him and the other guy confused then.
Yeah, so there's the board. The board op is like they make decisions. They it's kind of like the board of a company. You know, like a company, it'll have a board, but the board doesn't see day-to-day operations. It answers specific questions, it approves budgets, it sets a vision, it does some reining in of other people and things of that nature. And its job is not necessarily as day-to-day. Now, Libertarian Party is fairly small, so it does get kind of involved. But like the people who run the operation are like, there are staff who do things like you need someone to make sure the website's correct or to, you know, do the bookkeeping. Yes, there's a treasurer, but there's going to be like an actual like accountant type person, you know. So there's going to be like that kind of thing. You need the person who sends you the letter that says, hey, your dues are due, or makes the phone call, or, you know, you buy the mug that says libertarian on it from the website. You need the person who's going to like box it up and send it to you type thing. And I'm sure a lot of that stuff is outsourced, you know, fulfillment centers and things. But you still need staff of certain types. Or like if the Libertarian Party is doing something like throwing an event, you need staff who will, you know, they're going to facilitate the event, set up the chairs, and make sure everything's ready, and you know, that kind of things. And a lot of the staff can be volunteers, but you do need a core group of people who are going to do the work. And so they do all the day-to-day work, and then everybody else does kind of the higher level stuff. That's what the board does. And so, yeah, but Jim, he didn't seem like he was quite like that. But Wes ran. That's what I was talking about. We were Wes. He was the executive who did all the day-to-day work. So all that kind of stuff back, I believe, pre-2018, quite a while ago. I wouldn't say quite a while, a decent amount of a while ago. And since he left, and he had done it for a long time, and I think he was probably really good. I mean, I don't think he was. I know it was good. And since then, he's been disappointed at what's been happening, and so he wanted to, you know, fix it. And for that, I say more power to you. He tried. He didn't make it, but he did pretty good. And then under there was a guy named Rob Yates, who's from the Carolinas, and he's a good guy. I like Rob a lot. I think he'd been fine. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I think that while everyone who ran for chair had their strengths, I don't think any of them were really a big problem.
Yeah.
Now, vice chair is a little bit different. We had a guy who was a definite kind of divisive Mises guy, Bryce. Personally, I like him a lot, but he comes from the Mises side of things, which is one of the factions of the party. And then we had Amanda, who ended up winning. She was, I'm not going to call her anti-Mises, but she's more from kind of a anti-Mises side of things where, you know, you're going to have Bryce on one side, her on the other side, basically, you know, to simplify things. It's not quite that simple, but to simplify things. And then there was Tony, who I think he was supported by more of the legacy people who were like, no, we want the party to be back what it was, you know, 4 years ago or something like that. I think, like, for example, the thing that changes between like Tony and Amanda is that Amanda is more of a she has a vision to go forward type person, whereas I think Tony was more of a make Libertarian Party great again type thing. And so I don't think that's really selling anything. And then but I did notice a lot of people were nervous. That a lot of people, they weren't confident in Tony for whatever reason. I'm not speaking towards that. But I think they had genuine concerns about Bryce or Amanda. And so I decided to, you know, I'd been thinking about it for a couple of months. I wasn't really satisfied. Those were the ones I was most concerned about, and I knew about them. And I talked to people at convention, was asking questions, and everyone seemed a little uneasy, not sure what they wanted. And so, I was partying, having fun, and we ended up going up to a room where we're drinking and just carrying on and whatever. And we started just talking about stuff. And one of the people in the room was like, "Well, you should try for it." And I'm like, "Well, I'm not running for vice chair." It's like, this is my first convention, like, not really that involved. Like, I'm not really running for it. And he's like, "Well, you seem to know what's going on, one, and you seem qualified," which I think I was and am. And so, because the vice chair is kind of like your operations person, they assist the chair. So the chair's job is to like their job is to oversee and manage to a point, but also the chair oversees like the meetings and stuff. So they have to be kind of aware that they represent a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so, but at the vice chair level, you can do more work, in my mind. You're more hands on, more getting work done. Where the chair, you're a little more above the fray and kind of general overseeing and stuff of that nature. And so, vice chair seemed like a perfect spot for me. I also thought it was the most dangerous spot if the wrong person got into that position. Because the vice chair can run under the radar pretty heavy if they want to. A chair, it's kind of obvious. You're the chair. You're the face of the party for like a lot of people. But like the vice chair is not really the face of the party. They can be quiet in the corner and just do work. Like Paul Dar, who was the last vice chair, who I like the guy a lot.
Nice guy.
Nice guy. You've met him.
Yep.
Nice guy. And he's well known, but he's not, he's well known. He's not public, but he's not like he's not like a public persona, I guess is what you want to say. He's a more in the background, getting work done, doing things, just constant work. And I think he had a very good temperament for the job, and I think he did. I think he did a fairly good job considering the situation. Um, so, but yeah, so I jumped in on it, and because I thought I saw a lane, and one, Amanda owes me beers for that because I mean, people could have easily gone for Tony or for Bryce. I don't think Bryce would have really had a chance personally because I think the MC is just so toxic at this point.
Yeah.
Kind of semi-endorsing Trump, even though I know a lot of people in the MC didn't and don't agree with that, but we have a lot of
Still
that.
carrying all that baggage.
There's a lot of baggage there, and so there's a lot of baggage there, and I get a little concerned about what that baggage is going to be. So I just thought it was just going to be a fight, and another thing is it would cause a fight at the level in Michigan. So let's focus on Michigan specifically. It doesn't matter if one of the other two when I say other two, if Bryce or Amanda are actually divisive, or if they're actually a problem, one's a far leftist or one's a far right. It doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. What matters is at the Michigan level here, because I care about Michigan. The Michigan level, there was going to be a chunk of Michigan who loved Bryce and hated Amanda, and there's going to be a chunk of Michigan that hates Bryce and loves Amanda. That's the end of the story. There's going to be a chunk, and it was going to cause problems and division. There were going to be button heads and all sorts of stuff. And in Michigan, we need to get our shit in gear. We're dysfunctional. We're fighting all the time, and that was like my idea. Is like, okay, I don't know who's going to step up. We need someone to step up to stop this fighting, to end the nonsense. Just do work and move forward. Let's just get the shit done. And not pushing any agendas, not trying to season people or boot people out of the party. Let's just do shit, focus on the local level and get shit done. And so that was kind of the lane I ran at, and I think I'm definitely qualified because I had years and years of experience in operations. I don't think that's something I need to hash out, but
Yeah, I think you want, because you didn't have much time to give your pitch.
yeah.
Do you want just right now? It's a good opportunity.
Well,
or do you want to
yeah,
sit on it?
I can sit and think. I'll give some broad strokes. Is I definitely identified the problem, which is what I explained. Is that there's some division. And it's gonna raise the temperature in the room. It's gonna cause fighting, and it's gonna lead for some people to just try and cause problems, and other people fight. And it'd just be a clusterfuck. And so for me, I identified that was a problem. I'm not gonna do that. I'm a neutral person. And in Michigan, I've been a neutral person. That's what I am. That's what I do. I'm neutral. I try and mediate and arbitrate problems and conflict. I'm not always successful. A lot of times they're just so caught up in baggage that they get angry and they don't care. But that's what I would do. That's what I do. But then, yes. But as far as qualifications to do the job, that really didn't come out because they did cut off our nomination speeches. We only got a chance to do a debate, which was an awful debate. 30-second to answer a question, opening and closing. So you had 2 minutes total to talk. It'd been better just to talk for 2 minutes than to have this debate. And also the questions were kind of like dumb stuff. Like, I don't know, some people might not think of them as dumb, but they're softball kind of dumb questions that don't really. Everyone knows, like, we need to do this or that, or the party's succeeding if we get people elected. The party's succeeding if more members join, or things of that. Like, people know, like, that's kind of obvious stuff. Like, it's not. I don't think it really adds to the conversation. It's just people saying the same thing over and over and over again. And it's also not in, like, is it, for example, is it the vice chair's position that if they see unethical behavior occurring to call it out and say, hey, we cannot be doing this, guys? Yes. But is it the vice chair's job to litigate the past? No. Like, I think Tony brought up, embezzlement is theft or something like that. Yeah, okay, we understand where that's coming from previous leadership. We understand previous leadership did bad things. We understand you're not going to do that. But the vice chair is not here to be a prosecutor and to litigate the past. The vice chair is here to make sure committees run, people are meeting, to mediate problems between different people in the committees, to operate the organization, to help facilitate operations. That's what they're supposed to do. Free up the chair to deal with the major things that the chair needs to deal with, and then to focus on operating.
I don't smoke. I have a cigar once in a while, but I don't smoke.
Yeah. But
Reading comments.
yeah, that's so. So I was kind of nervous. So I ran. I did pretty well. I did really well considering I only announced right at the end. I was convinced to do it by people I was drinking with at 5 a.m. I didn't go to bed. I was still, I've been drinking all night. I didn't even sober up. I just took a shower, came in. I probably sobered up by lunch because I was drinking coffee, but it wasn't like
Out of milk.
I was out of milk. And so we started doing the thing, and we discussed. Votes started happening, and it went pretty well, considering I was completely unknown. People in Michigan might know who I am, but people in general don't know who I am. And I wasn't able to give the pitch of saying my qualifications. Identify the problem, not able to identify qualifications. So I would argue, I don't know about Tony specifically, but I think I might be, but I don't know positively. But I would bet that I was the most qualified candidate on that stage. I would bet that. And when it comes to operations. So operating organizations, I bet that I'd be the most qualified. Tony might be. more qualified than me. But beyond him, no. That's all I do. Like I left college, or I left high school, went straight to college, and I did engineering and stuff. But I rapidly moved into operations. I spent like 3 months in engineering, and then yes, I did go to school for engineering, but I went straight into operations, and I did operations solid for 13 years. That's all I did was operations. And then I stopped doing operations because I have my own business. And when you have your own business, you have to do operations. And you have to know how an entire organization runs. So, and I mean, proof's here. That's where we're at. Yeah. We're at the business right now, which is why it's a manufacturing business, so it's not like a studio. It's not fancy, but this is what it is. And so, yeah, I would say that as far as that qualification goes, definitely the most qualified person there. Running teams, running people. I've had to deal with conflict internally in teams, and I've never, pretty much never had to deal with like having people solve the problems for me. What I mean by that is like, if an employee isn't doing a good job, it's not like, okay, we're going to go to HR. I never would do that. I would handle it. You know, I might end up firing someone, in which case I'd have to, justify it with HR. But typically, I would never have to deal with those problems. People get fired on their own. I had maybe one instance of a person who we had to go back and forth with HR multiple times with because they were a problem, but that was somebody who, you have one or two of those kind of people. But for the most part, disagreements between people and stuff, it all has to get settled out, all has to be worked out. And you can't go around lopping heads off because people don't do their job. You have to make people want to do their job and things like that. So it doesn't matter. But I do think I was most qualified, and we went through the different rounds of voting, and I got second place. Amanda won. Congratulations to her. I think she will do a good job. Personally, I think she'll do fine. I think she'll do fine. I think she's good in the sense that she is going to have a vision for the future. Where I think a lot of people either want to make the party great again or have no vision. So I do think she had a vision for the future. I kind of disagree about her vision, but I'm open-minded to it. I'm more worried about what other people's resistance to her is going to be. So of all the people that were elected, I think she's like, people probably have the biggest problem with her. Evan maybe, but I think a lot of that's bad faith. That's just being bad faith, I think, for Evan. Yeah. I haven't seen
stuff I've heard.
Yeah,
it's been like the slander type stuff. Like,
yeah, it's all like he ran a porn studio and did criminal stuff, and it's like, okay, well, yeah, I mean, I know people who did bad things and woke up and sobered up, and to the best of my knowledge, he has. I haven't heard of him going to jail in the last 6 months. I haven't heard of him getting caught for anything. So, yeah, he did something wrong in the past. A lot of people do something wrong in the past. A guy that I've had conversations with, I really like, his name's Michael Leibowitz. I believe he's in Connecticut. And he was put in jail for like 20 plus years when he was like, was he 20, maybe a teenager? For attempted murder. That guy is probably one of the most solid, respectable, honest people you'll ever fucking meet. Ever. And he was in jail for 20 plus years for attempted murder. And he was a piece of shit. But not today. So, like, I don't hold that against Evan. Also, the whole, like, gay porno studio, to the best of my knowledge, I have yet to know, like, what movie he has, like, made that's like that. And I was like,
I heard it was like low budget horror type movies, which is not really my thing.
Yeah, low budget horror. I mean, but I haven't seen. I'm not gonna go watch like gay porn, but like, I have not heard like Boys Gone Wild with Evan. I've never heard of that. So I think it's slander. I just think it's like it's sour grapes. Yeah. It's sour grapes. So I think it's a waste of time that's just a waste of time. And people saying that stuff, that like they should be kind of dismissed. You can have legitimate difference of opinion, but that's kind of like, yeah, whatever. But so
let me try something here because we got a comment and I don't know how to do this.
how to do what?
How to like highlight a comment?
I'm not sure.
If I do pin message, does it? No.
Did anything change after the slapping? I think it made people after someone got assaulted. I think it changed. Is that what you're trying to find? Yeah. So after there was an assault. There's alleged theft, which is dubious, and then there's alleged assault, which I think is a little less dubious. I think that definitely happened. But when they basically what happened is some stuff was being stolen from New Hampshire, and stuff was being taken from them. That was definitely happening. But then someone took a paper, and I think it was like just literature, like like a brochure, like, oh hey, here's my little pamphlet on whatever it is thing. Like, here's my pamphlet on coming to New Hampshire. You should come to New Hampshire. You'd love it. And so they were giving them away. And at any time you can say, no, you can't have one of those because you're just going to throw it in the trash. But also there's like a little proportionality thing here where like, okay, she took something. Okay, all right, fine. You know who it is. It's kind of like the whole like, why should a cop sees someone, gets the license plate number, why should they chase the person down? For the most part, it's like, okay, have at it, guy. I have your license plate number. Good luck running, because now I have you for running away on top of whatever it is that you did. There's no reason to engage in dangerous behavior of a high-speed chase that could get a car accident, kill someone.
Yeah.
So that's the same thing with like taking this newspaper. You know who it is. You can identify the person, bring it up and say, hey, this person keeps taking our stuff. We told her to stop. But that's not what happened. Somebody came up to her, said give it back. She wouldn't, and they slapped her. Pretty rough slap from what I know. I saw her. Her story changed a little bit, embellished it and stuff like that. But whatever. I mean, people are gonna. It's eyewitness testimony. It's I got love tapped. I got beaten. It's just really hard to know what the reality is. Especially from people who are not like I would bet that she's not someone who's used to violence. I'm not someone who's used to violence either. So it's like I probably have the same reaction. She was probably so surprised that whatever happened. But it made people pretty angry.
Yeah.
And so the guy who did the slap, one, he was arrested, but two, we said, get out of here, you're kicked out. And I wanted him out of there too. It's like, I'm not interested in being in a room with people slapping each other or with women getting beaten. That's ridiculous. That's nothing in politics is that serious. Nothing. Like,
It's all too fake and gay to be real.
it's all too fake and gay to be beaten the fuck out of women for it. Yeah, it's not fucking worth it. It is not worth it. And also, I mean, I have been trying to get I wanted to take my kid. I was planning on taking. I got a 19-month old. Well, don't mess that up. A 19-month-old, and I was like, I'll take him with me. And it's probably a good thing I didn't take him because probably wouldn't have been able to pay attention to him. I'd be too busy. But or I wouldn't be able to do business, one or the other. I wouldn't have been able to do both or party. That too.
It would have been his second convention.
It would have been. Yeah. So, but a third. That's 3.
Oh,
That would have been his 3rd convention.
I forgot one.
Yeah. So two state ones. Yeah. But anyway, but I wouldn't want my kid around when people are being beaten up and hit and stuff. Like, hell no. That's not cool. And I want my wife to come. And my wife isn't necessarily a libertarian, but she definitely wouldn't want to be anywhere around people if that sort of stuff is happening. So
Yeah.
it's a bad look all around. It shouldn't have occurred. People defending it, shut up. The guy fucking did something wrong, you know. And as far as I'm concerned, just never come back to Michigan. Go back to New Hampshire. Don't come back to Michigan. I don't want you around here. That's just. And I talked to the guy. I talked to the guy the day before. He seemed pretty chill talking to him one-on-one. He drove truck for a while. He does construction. If he does construction like he was talking about, that's a pretty good hit, probably. And he probably got some muscle behind it. He's not a keyboard warrior.
Yeah.
He actually swings a hammer, so.
Yeah, he's got the wrist.
yeah. So, but it definitely put a damper on things, and I think it angered a lot of people. So it was not a smart move. He shouldn't have done it. And whatever. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. There's not too much more to talk about all that stuff.
Yeah, non-convention.
No. I will say I messed up. I took people out to dinner. I took them to the Bob. And I didn't realize how much security was going to be at the Bob. And a couple people are carrying.
Oh.
That didn't end well. Well, I mean, no one got in trouble. It was just like, oh, fuck. Like, had to go take it back and put it wherever they were going to put it.
More of a nuisance.
Yeah. But overall, there are a lot of great people to talk to. I had a blast talking to people. I really enjoyed the night. I stayed up all night and was drinking and talking to people. That was fun. That was fun stuff. Yeah. I was in a room. I knew one person in the room. And other than that, I didn't know nobody. We were all just bullshitting and having fun. It was a great time. So, yeah. All right.
I'm going to go grab another drink. And when I get back, I think you should tell me why I should or should not
Be involved?
support the party. Because my membership just ended.
Oh, it just ended? Okay.
Yeah.
Great. You're grabbing behind that beer right there. I should have brought the cigars I bought. I have a whole box of them.
Well, I have some more.
Oh, okay. But, yeah. Let's see. Anybody say anything here? We got. Bum, 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 bum. No. So you want to know why you should be part of the party? Or
Basically, yeah, so I joined.
Yeah.
I joined the party to go to the Michigan convention.
Yeah.
Because you had started getting involved and started talking to people. And so I thought, all right, there is a group of people who are coming into this party to do shit.
Yeah.
And not just be an embarrassment. Because everything I had seen up to that point had been all embarrassment. And so I was convinced there is movement happening. Mm-hmm. We are going to go from embarrassment to doing shit. And so, yeah, that was what inspired me to join for a year. And now my membership ended. Mm-hmm. I think my membership is now ended as of the day following convention. So, should I or should I not join Michigan or National Party again?
Well, so
sell me again.
Joining National, I don't know if it's necessary. Now, if you want the party to be around, which I have reasons for wanting to be around, I'll get into. If you want the party to be around, you can donate to every part of it. I would, though, say that it's best to be involved in what you are involved in locally. And so the state party, but then it's even more important to be involved in your affiliate, like the local county level. Like, for example, right now we're doing quite a bit to try and make the local affiliate in Michigan actually do something, like in Oakland County specifically. But like, we've had issues with commissioners who are voting for like surveillance and flock, and that stuff's a problem. It needs to be dealt with, and I think that's quite an opening that allows libertarians to get in there. But I don't think you necessarily have to be involved in the national party. State party, I definitely think you should. I don't think that there's a party that represents people, and people can have their opinions on whether politics is legitimate or not. Most part, not. People can also have their opinions on whether parties are good or bad. For the most part, probably bad. But the problem is that it's what we have. And so, for me, I had been pretty disillusioned with politics for quite a long time. But over time, I just noticed I was getting messed with more. Camera turn off.
Let's see. I think we can still hear. So,
Yeah.
let's see.
Don't know.
8% battery on it.
You got to plug the battery cable in.
Let's see if
You
it'll-
can't have them both in at the same time.
I'm not sure.
I think you can.
That's.
Okay. I don't see anything displaying yet.
I unplugged that.
Oh, that would make sense.
Again, technical difficulties.
Yeah, it's technical difficulties
Yeah.
day. We're figuring it out.
I guess to keep going, I could. Let's see if that doesn't. No.
Why it only wants one or the other?
Yeah.
That's weird. Why is that?
Because it is an old GoPro.
Oh, it's old?
Yeah, it's old, and so it doesn't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it doesn't work for this very well.
So you need a little bit better. So it can't charge and run at the same time?
Yeah, I can't even get it to go into active mode now.
Yeah.
Without plugging it in, so. But we'll let that charge.
Yeah, we see you saying that. Just a second, we're turn on your laptop.
Yeah.
Just turn the laptop screen on. They'll take care of it. Hey, it's the technical difficulties talk. That's what it is. But yeah, Barfo, I agree with you that if you don't like the current management, just donate the minimum. I agree. I would say that if someone at any way thinks that it doesn't look very good. But what I will say is that if in any way you think the Libertarian Party that you would want to be involved in it, I would recommend not getting uninvolved, because what I mean by that is in not paying your membership. I would maintain the membership because of discussions of, yeah, that works. I mean, it's not that great. But it works.
Worse visually, but
It's fine.
still can see us.
Yeah, we're good. Good enough. So I would say that yeah, that's fine. if you don't like necessarily what the party's doing, but you're thinking you might want to be involved, I would maintain a membership because there's talk of kind of seasoning that or changing the rules so that then you wouldn't count anymore. That would be part of the reason if you ever thought it was good. But um, the way I look at it is the Libertarian Party, whether we like it or not, most people, when they hear libertarian, they think libertarian in terms of like Republican and Democrat. And so Democrats are not for democracy or whatever it's supposed to be. Republicans are not for a republic. It's it's uh, it's different. Those parties, they're power politic parties. They care about power. That's it. Libertarians are different. Even if you disagree with them, they are different. So so since libertarians are actually different, the problem is that the party, if it exists, and one will always exist. While the Libertarian Party exists, which I believe will always be in existence in some way, shape, or form, people will think that that's what you are, what represents you. So if you want to be represented by, um, if you don't want to have any control over what represents you, you could say that you're just not a libertarian and not be involved. But it is what represents you, and then on top of trying to hold the name libertarian and make sure it really means what it is, there are actual things that are needed. Like to be able to do certain things in politics, you need a party. Even though we were warned by some of the founders, I believe Washington specifically warned against, he called it factions, but parties. We operate with parties. And so I think you need to use it as a tool to fight against the state. I do not think the Libertarian Party is the pinnacle of liberty or libertarianism, but I think it's a necessary portion. And while the libertarian exists, such as it is, it should be libertarian.
I've always I've always used the analogy of a back burn when describing it.
Yeah.
It's a back burn when you're doing, when you're fighting a wildfire.
Yeah.
You'll cut a trench and then you'll light a fire to go back toward the fire that is out of control. And so you're controlling the portion of area that is going to get burned.
Yeah.
And I think that the duopoly that we have running the country is a wildfire that is consuming our freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And so Libertarian Party should act as the tool that we are using to fight back against that.
Yeah.
But it is also still a fire in that it is a party. I think that parties are they are unnecessary and they are generally detrimental, because when we have parties, we get into all this tribalism and factionalism.
Yeah, I think people would agree, like, even if you look at, like, for example, like the caucuses in the Libertarian Party, and there's caucuses in other parties too. People would say, the caucuses, they're like parties inside of parties. And they definitely have caused more problems, it seems, at least recently. I think that there's a healthy point there. I think the Libertarian Party, it does a couple of things. One, it advocates for what libertarianism is, and whether I think that people should look at the Libertarian Party and go, "Oh, that's what a libertarian is," which I think is stupid, but that's what people do. That's one of its things. Another thing is it allows people to organize and fight politically, and then I think it also provides somewhat of a structure for when things go wrong, maybe you could say. What I mean by that is like, okay, what's occurring isn't working. The Libertarian Party should represent something that works. That's where it has a huge problem. Is I don't think the Libertarian Party represents what works. It represents all of the libertarian ideals that don't work. And that's not a good way of saying it, but it doesn't look like it works. So the organization, I think, definitely needs to be competent and needs to run and needs to operate. And I think there's too many people in the Libertarian Party who they ultimately there's someone who would not be accepted in the Republican or Democrat Party. There's someone who generally feels unaccepted in society. And so they think they're libertarian just because they're a dysfunctional human. And I think there's a large percentage of dysfunctional humans in the Libertarian Party. And that's what's represented. And
They're not there on any principle other than I don't fit.
yeah, it's like I don't fit in, and to be fair, I don't fit in. But most places I've been involved, I don't feel like I fit in. But there's a difference between saying I don't fit in, and so I'm just counterculture, this or that, or it's I don't fit in because of these certain things. And also people who don't fit in, I don't think are not welcome. See, that's where I differ with, like, you have people like LP&H, where they say, look, you are a weirdo. We don't want you in New Hampshire. And I think that that's a mistake because we're going to have some noise, though, from that.
Yeah, well, we can close on the noise. I think the camera's getting foggy because we're smoking.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
We can pop a tile out of the ceiling sometime.
Yeah.
So
So
leave it open until the air compressor comes on.
it's all right. Let's get come on pretty quick. But like New Hampshire wants to push away people, and I definitely think there's a lot of people in the Libertarian Party who are not libertarians. But I think there are a lot that are, and they're also in the Libertarian Party because they feel like they're just not welcome. You dropped your shit. Not welcome, and they need to accept that. And I don't think this is not collectivization, but they prioritize. They prioritize their individual expression over cooperation. So it's not collectivization, it's cooperation. They think that not cooperating with people, not working with people, not showing respect to people, that's being an individual. Yeah.
People believe themselves to be libertarians, so whatever horseshit they believe is libertarian too.
Yeah. And that's not true. There is like legitimate libertarian thought. And I don't think you need to read like these giant tomes and books to know what a libertarian is. I think it's a lot simpler than people realize. But yeah, but anyway, so I think while we're in the political system we are in, we need to have our whatever it is that we lost ourselves.
Again.
What happened?
Did I do that?
You push a button?
I thought I was typing.
You end it?
No. I reactivated the GoPro.
Oh. Darkness imprisoned me. So, here it is. We knew it was coming. So, while a libertarian party such as exists and there's always going to be one. We want to represent what libertarianism is or what libertarians are, and it's a backburn to the current political situation we're in with Republicans and Democrats, who are unprincipled as they come, and it's getting worse and worse. They're coming more and more and more unprincipled, if they have principles to begin with, which I doubt. I don't think they ever have. And then also, I think that depending on what happens in the United States, we might be having some people think the United States might collapse. I don't think it's going to collapse that quickly. But if the United States were to say, let's say, collapse, and the government can't handle it, you need to fill the vacuum. What we need to do is we need to have something there to fill that vacuum. Otherwise, you're going to have some dictator fill the vacuum, or some strongman. So if you can have a loose organization that has a theory of law, that respects people, respects liberty, respects property rights, when we have a collapse in the civilization, which doesn't respect people or property rights at all, we can be like, hey, let's kind of reorganize a little bit and do it a little bit better. And you have to be respectable. When I say respectable, I don't mean we want to make it look like we don't want to legitimize the other people who you think might be illegitimate. We need to be respectful so that people will take our ideas seriously. There's a lot of people who don't take libertarian ideas seriously because they're just like, yeah, you're just dysfunctional, you're retarded people, you don't know what you're doing, and you can't even run your own meetings, let alone try and run a country. And while I don't think we should run the country, people kind of want that a little bit. So,
I think you get a lot of. I think, honestly, Trump summed it up pretty well during his appearance at whatever conference that was.
Yeah.
When he said, keep losing and keep getting your 2% and losing or whatever.
yeah,
Like, that's all that people see. Like, the layman's perspective, that's what people see of the party.
yeah, it's see a loser.
Yeah. And if they look into it, if they look into it at all from that perspective, then they see stuff like, like the bullshit going on now that we're trying to disaffiliate and fight in with each other. It's like, okay, they're losers, and this is the reason. Not worth my time.
Yeah, there's that. And while I don't necessarily think that the Libertarian Party, political party, should get people elected, blah, 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 getting policy wins, blah, 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 blah. I'm in agreement there. But what I think we need to do is we need to show people. You can't tell people. I can't sit here and educate you on this is the best way to do things in economics. I need to show you that it'll work. Like, for example, think about prosperity gospel. Like, why are, I don't know, Joel Osteen, I guess. Why are there a bunch of people that go to Joel Osteen's church or pay attention to his church? I'm trying not to be mean about are they really Christians or not? But there's a lot of people who go to Joel Osteen's church because
that could be the subject of it.
That's a different episode, but it's very similar in Libertarian parties. They go there for prosperity gospel because they say, oh, if I'm a Christian and I align with this group, I'm going to get money or they'll help me, blah, 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 blah. So libertarians need to we need to be prosperity libertarians. We need to show, yes, you'll succeed. You'll have a good family, good life, good money, blah, 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 blah. Life is good if you deal with libertarians. And at the same time, we don't want to be focused on just that. We have to actually hold true to a lot of our beliefs. And I don't think beliefs need to get super deep. You know, for a lot of people, don't hurt people and don't take their stuff is probably as deep as they need to go. I think it's milquetoast and lame, but that's probably as deep as you need to go for a lot of people. And obviously, we can't get there because someone at the convention took someone's stuff and someone hurt someone.
Yeah.
So we failed to even do the retard version of libertarianism, which is don't hurt people and don't take their stuff.
Yeah. But reminds me, is at large still open?
No.
Next time?
Nope, they filled it.
Because, yeah, the immediate reaction to that, the slappening, was I heard from Leighton on the Swamp stream. And yeah, that was his summation was he heard it and he was like, yeah, don't hurt people and don't take their stuff. Anyway, next question, basically.
Yeah. That's 100% it. And we failed to even do that. So, but I also think for libertarians who we consider ourselves individuals, and we don't consider ourselves like collective, and we like decentralization. To be so focused on the LNC, on the National Party, is ridiculous, especially when the National Party is literally going to be doing nothing for the next 2 years, and nothing meaning that like they're not running candidates. like we're not going to have candidates run until 2028. So there's no reason to worry about the LNC. It just needs to operate. It needs to exist. It needs to make sure that states are supported as states need to have ballot access, and it needs to exist. That's about all it needs to do. It doesn't need to do anything crazy. It needs to get itself ready for when there's a presidential candidate, support the presidential candidate, and work as hard as they can.
Yeah.
And that's all it needs to do for the next 2 years. There's not that much to go on. The LNC should not be like, oh my gosh, my guy didn't win the LNC, so now I'm no longer welcome in the party. It's like, what? What? No way. Your local affiliate can do whatever it wants within certain rules, whatever the hell it is, but it can basically do whatever it wants, and it doesn't care. So I say focus on your local affiliate, build up, build out, and like I have asked people, I'm like, just like learn to work with people, get along with people. And they're like, there's certain people I cannot work with, and I'm like, I asked the question, could you clean up a road with someone? Could you pick up trash off the road if they were on one side of the street and you were on the other?
Yeah, not shoulder to shoulder.
Not shoulder to shoulder. If you're literally on the opposite sides of the street, could you pick up fucking trash? Because guess what? Convicts do that every fucking day.
Yeah.
And if you can't even do what a convict can do, that's telling me something. I think you can. I think they can. And once you pick up trash, a little bit by little bit, you'll get to realize the other person's not your enemy. They're not evil. They're not Satan. You might still disagree, but whatever. And I think it's the problem is other people are trying to control others. They just shouldn't. Don't control people. There's no reason to worry about is the Libertarian Party a leftist party or rightist party? Are they good or bad? No. It's like, is my local affiliate doing what it's supposed to do? Does it represent libertarianism? Are the people involved in my local affiliate, are they involved in libertarian activism, whether it be mutual aid or support of their community, church even? Who knows? I don't care. Are they doing things beyond just the party? I'm talking like community service type things. Are they making an impact? If they are, and they're doing a good job at it, is the state party doing that? Help the state party do that. Move it up slowly, piece by piece, and eventually you'll get there. And while the Libertarian Party is there to elect people, elect candidates, it's also an organizing entity which allows, it's an organizing entity that allows for libertarians to get together and get things done, whether it means clean up the road or not. So, yeah, I think it's worth being involved in 100%. And while I do think some of the non-politicals, like your agorists or your people who think like politics is completely bad. I think they have a valid point. And the what?
If you identify as agorist,
And you're in the party?
and you're, well, not in the party, just if you're identifying as agorist,
Yeah.
and actively, like, having an active discourse on politics, does it then inherently matter? It's like why would
I don't know.
why would you advocate like nihilism or atheism?
Well, I would have to ask
It's
some
more
of
of an
my.
esoteric philosophical question.
I would have to ask some agorist friends.
I don't understand that.
Yeah, well, so agorism is a Conklin stuff. I had to read him again. It's been a while since I've read him. But they definitely have opinions on politics, and they definitely say what they feel or mean. But I don't know if I don't really have a good answer for that. I know, like, they think being involved in politics is not worth it. You know, don't do it. But I don't know if having opinions on politics is anti-agorist. I don't know if that's a thing. It might be. I don't know.
I guess it's a topic for another day, maybe.
Yeah, maybe that's something.
I just don't understand it. I know you looked more into different subsections than I have.
Yeah, well, for a long time I wasn't really convinced about being in the party and stuff, but I think the big thing is that the way that the dynamics are in the United States, you kind of need to be in a party to be able to have any political influence to push any kind of stuff. I think it's a good organizing vehicle. I do not think that it is the greatest thing for liberty. I do not think that is the case. People who say that the Libertarian Party, people who say that the Libertarian Party is the greatest vehicle for liberty, they are, in my opinion, they are nuts. I think that the greatest vehicle for liberty is just basically being a good person in your life to others. Meaning, don't hurt them, don't take their stuff. At the same time, respect other people's opinions and help each other. And that doesn't mean being altruistic or whatever. Don't sacrifice yourself for others. But the greatest vehicle for liberty is to make it so people don't feel like they need a authority figure over top. Like, maybe I can chastise myself, but if you live in a HOA, why would the HOA even need to worry about rules on mowing your grass unless people are being shitheads? So if people work together, respect each other, mow their grass, it sounds dumb, but it's an example. The HOA doesn't need rules on that. You're free to operate because you're not actively bothering other people. People aren't like going, okay, we need to have rules on how to mow your grass because we're upset about something. People don't want to control you because they don't feel like you're affecting them. But if you don't mow your grass, they might be like, oh my gosh, whenever my in-laws come over, they complain about the neighbor 2 streets down, and they tell my wife that I live in a shit neighborhood. Why'd you marry this bum? People get annoyed by that. Now, is that their property? Should they care about it? No. But they do. It affects them. even if it's just psychological. So I think the greatest vehicle for liberty is to just be a good person at the local level to other people. It's not the party. And so I think in politics, in party politics, it is the greatest vehicle for liberty. That I think it is. And I think it's necessary. It's unfortunate. I think you either need to be in the party or you need to hoist a black flag and be ready to shoot someone. And I don't think that's a good option. You know,
Yeah, one's a little more extreme. One is
Yeah.
a little more Mad Max, a little less.
Ford F-150, greatest vehicle for liberty. Ford F-150. I disagree.
Yeah.
I think it's a Jeep Wrangler.
I agree with that.
Jeep Wrangler.
Jeep Wrangler. It was built for liberty,
Mm-hmm.
and it's ran for liberty.
Uh-huh.
Yep. Built by the baby military-industrial complex,
Yeah.
but still.
Yes. Yeah, I do. I think Jeep Wrangler is the vehicle for liberty. F-150.
F-150s aren't bad.
They're not bad. I'll give you that. I'd drive an F-150.
Yeah. But if I find one, I would buy a Bronco.
Well, that's not an F-150. That's a Bronco.
No, but
You're talking like an older one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I didn't really like that that more rounded body. It was like the late '90s, early 2000s. It had the kind of that rounded.
oh yeah.
You know, talk about the ugly
Yeah.
F-150s.
The new Broncos are insanely useless
Expensive.
and expensive.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I considered looking at them.
Yeah.
We're getting way off topic. But anyway, I have a Jeep Wrangler Unlimited. I can put the seats down and I can put a 24 by 48 sheet of material in the back.
Yep.
I have carried how heavy was that shaft?
That shaft that we carry?
Yeah, like 60-inch shaft or something. It was a big ass shaft. And it was like,
I think it was like 700 pounds.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
a Jeep Wrangler has a half-ton axle in it.
Yeah. So like I could throw
I think
that-
a Bronco probably has a half-ton axle in it as well.
Yeah, but the new Broncos, they don't improve on.
The Jeep Liberty is a piece of shit.
Jeep Liberty is not a Jeep.
Oh my God, that's like
Fuck
getting
that.
the Bronco Sport.
Yeah. Yeah.
A Jeep Liberty, a Jeep Liberty is like the Bronco Sport. The Bronco Sport is literally
That's empty.
the Bronco Sport is literally a fucking Ford Escape.
Yeah,
It's a Ford Escape that they put the Bronco logo on the side of it.
Yeah.
Gay as hell.
Yeah.
The Jeep Liberty. It's like the Jeep Patriot. Actually, it was one of the longest running vehicles ever made. It was the Jeep Patriot.
Which is crazy.
Fuck ton of those things.
That's crazy.
Not a bad vehicle. People I mean, yeah, I know people who have them. Had one for a while.
Yeah.
Fine car. I mean, I wouldn't call it great. I wouldn't call it a great car. It was a car. It worked.
I think the Jeep, I think the Gladiator and the Bronco failed in the same way.
Yeah.
In that neither of them, like they're built to be the off-road utility, and then they forgot that they were doing that before they built the vehicle.
Yeah.
And so you don't have really useful bed space. Like you don't have truck bed space in a car
No.
that can go off-road.
No.
It's like, okay, then you lost the plot. It's like the old Jeep, was it the Commander or Command Jeep?
Yeah.
The old Jeep pickups. No, it was a truck. It was like a Ford Ranger. It was built like that. It had all like the bed space. You know, good.
Those were pretty slick.
Yeah.
The old
The old Broncos.
Cherokees were also really good.
The old
The
Broncos,
old
you took the seat out of the back.
two-door Cherokees are great.
Yeah. Took the seat out of the back of the old Broncos, and I think you had like a
Oh,
6 foot.
yeah.
You had a 6 foot bed that you could put a 48-inch sheet of plywood in, and It could be sticking out the tailgate, but you can put it in there.
Yeah, I know. Now a Toyota 4Runner. I almost bought a 4Runner, but my missus, she didn't like that one. 4Runner wasn't quite good enough for her. Go off road, crazy speed. Yeah. The 4Runner is pretty sweet. That's a pretty sweet car. I liked it, but
Let me see if this camera's charged up.
you think it's charged?
Maybe not, but
What we need to do is time how long that camera lasts and be like, listen, people only want to listen to these fucknuts talk as long as that camera's on. So as soon as it dies, we're done.
well, I added to an Amazon cart. It's got 50%. So
Added what, like a battery?
yeah, I added the battery pack. So for now, we can just. It's cheaper to buy a battery pack than it is to buy an actual camera. So
It is.
$30.
Is it like an
versus-
extra battery pack?
Yeah, it is like a.
It's like a block that goes in the bottom.
No, it's like a block that has 3 batteries in it. So it's like that. So you've got like how you're.
But you have to swap the batteries out though while it's
you
running.
not while it's running. But you got to
So
swap the batteries out. Yes. But
Yeah.
I don't think you can do a dummy battery for the GoPro though, because it's
Oh.
closed. So
Yeah, Hilux. A Hilux would be nice.
I was thinking I wanted to get that camera on.
Yeah.
Because we have the whiteboard,
Mm-hmm.
and if we want to get back on topic,
Yeah.
we have that card of ours, so we could kind of go through the list simply.
Yeah.
I've got the camera's got 50% battery on it right now, so
Yeah. Well, let's look at that list. Let's try and let me see, where was it? It was on. You sent it to me through Drive, right? It's like a shared with, right?
Oh, not that one. I meant the standards.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about. All right.
Which,
All right. Apologies, guys. We'll have to go through the card again another day as well
yeah.
because I think it's worth twice. Okay.
So, speaking of the convention, did you go through or give these out?
I gave out quite a few. I have a handful of emails. So what's kind of cool is I gave out my card to. So he's running as the Libertarian in the race that Massey was in. So was it Kentucky 4? So the guy who's
Jeffrey or something? Jeremy?
yeah, I think it's Jeremy. Yeah. So I gave him a card, and he was talking to people, and I've probably had 3 people hit me up that he has recommended me to. So that's pretty cool. So all right. So to kind of explain what we got here, we've got these little cards, and I know camera's far away.
Here, let me see.
You're gonna turn the camera on.
Yeah, I'm gonna just turn on the truck.
All right. So we're gonna turn the camera on real fast.
This is the kind of thing that we can clip out.
Clip out.
Yeah, I don't know. Clips.
Yeah. So.
Production stuff. Things. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, Jeremy Todd. That's right. That's right. So we're swapping cameras real fast so you can see a little bit better. Oh, that's much clearer.
Oh yeah.
I don't think it was the smoke. It's the camera.
Yeah, that's the camera.
The camera's all washed out. The other camera's washed out.
Alright, so.
But yeah, Jeremy Todd.
Let's just move it up a little closer.
Okay.
Yeah. Kind of go like that. There. So you
All
can
right.
use the whiteboard now.
Oh, we can use the whiteboard.
Yeah.
All right.
See if it makes sense.
All right. So we have this little card. Nothing crazy. Just it's a business card. Laser engraved it because we make stuff. Manufacturing for liberty. We like making shit. It's fun. Anyway. So our little card. I'm gonna read this out to everybody. So, and this is what we hand out to people. All right. It's titled Aspirations for American Liberty. The United States has flourished through individual liberty and autonomy, which has stagnated under overbearing restrictions to those liberties. Our success is dependent on our ability to adapt and change in an evolving world and striving to better ourselves. We believe a consistent America is any, or American, I'm sorry, a consistent American is any individual who aspires to these principles. And the principles are life, liberty, property, non-aggression, voluntary association, and decentralization. Now, when we talk about life, we basically, I mean, it's, you hear about people talk about life all the time. It's, you know, don't killing people. That's not type of life. Which I think life and liberty are pretty self-explanatory. They're pretty well understood in kind of like life, liberty, pursuit of happiness type of thing. Property is fundamentally that property is what is like your determining factor. So, for example, like life, like if we want to call ourselves propertarians or propertitarians, I've heard the term called. I believe there's a guy in Michigan, Solus Mullins, who he ran for Senate and he beat a warmonger. Well, he cost a warmonger his seat. He used the term propertarian. And so a propertarian is someone who believes that property rights are fundamental. And off of property rights, we get things such as life, non-aggression, things of that nature. Having a fundamental respect for property is very important. It comes from like why we don't think there should be taxes, why you shouldn't hurt others, why you shouldn't kill people because they own their own themselves, why you can't have slavery. It's a little more difficult with slavery because people are like, well, can't you sell yourself to slavery? No, not able to. It's not a legitimate contract. Anyway, so we have non-aggression, which is a respect for property rights. Voluntary association. So if I don't want to, you know, if I think someone is racist and I don't want to deal with racist people, I don't need to associate with them. I shouldn't be forced to associate with them. At the same time, I don't think forcing racist people who will actively not want to associate with people that they think are lesser, I don't think it's good to force them to associate. That's why the Civil Rights Act, I think, is a major problem. Decentralization. Why we discuss decentralization on this card is because we think there's an inherent problem where centralized power is, people are going to be attracted to power or controlling others. There's just people who want power. And if you remove that incentive of power and control through decentralization, I think it's extremely valuable and powerful. So, for example, in the Libertarian Party, which we've been talking about today, decentralization is key. It's a bottom-up organization, and that's why I don't think we should have seasoning requirements, for example, at the national level. Because if you have seasoning requirements at the national level, you start to dictate policy down. You start to dictate who is a real libertarian, who isn't. It allows for the control. Yes. It allows for control. And the United States has really lost its decentralization roots. An American believes in decentralization. I believe that to my core. And the Constitution was a centralizing document to a point. The thing is that the Constitution is not self-enforcing. It requires people who believe, who have principles, who dedicate themselves to maintaining that order. That's what the Constitution requires. So the Constitution, has it failed in Spooner terms? Yes, the Constitution has either failed to present or has enabled. Well, I don't think it's necessarily enabled. It's failed to prevent what has occurred, but it has not enabled what has occurred. What has enabled what has occurred is people fundamentally not respecting property rights, the life and liberty of others, non aggression, and allowing people to freely associate with others. That's what has caused the Constitution to fail. If people respected each other, the Constitution, I think, would be perfectly valid. They don't. And I think you can kind of look at a few examples, especially in, for example, my lifetime of paying attention to things, which I would say really started right around 9/11. I was in fourth grade. It was like the first big thing I saw. And I thought it was the World War II moment of my life. It wasn't. I literally thought I was going to join my older relatives who had fought to save the world, and I was lied to. And it was quite the experience to realize that that was false. Um, but what we've done is, in the United States, we've started to treat people outside of the United States not the way we would treat ourselves. So what I mean by that is we collectivize, we don't respect life, liberty, property, or the way people operate, cultures or traditions in a foreign land. And so because we don't do that, we start to bring those tendencies home. So if you go in a foreign land and you say, I don't respect how you function, I'm going to upset your order, I'm going to change everything, I'm not going to try and convince you, I'm going to force you. What happens is you come back to the United States, and for example, let's say you're in favor of abortion. Well, you're going to want to enforce your views on abortion in the United States. For example, I'm just making something up. So, like, to use Michigan as an example, when Roe v. Wade was overturned with, I believe it was called Dobbs, there were people in Michigan who were freaking out about Dobbs. They're like, oh my God, this is the end of the world, women's rights, women's rights, women's rights. Well, I would tell people it doesn't matter in Michigan. In Michigan, we have a constitutional amendment that basically puts abortion into the Constitution. I can agree or disagree with it, but that's what it is. So Dobbs had zero effect on people in Michigan, but there are so many people in Michigan who were obsessed about it, and they're like, no, we need to force our beliefs on others. And I think that a lot of what the United States has done throughout history of slowly becoming a centralized government, more and more power, and then using that power to affect people abroad, we're now using that power internally. And I think we see that in the Libertarian Party as well, where the Libertarian Party is supposed to be bottom up. We're supposed to focus on affiliates, states, national last. And there's an obsession with controlling national because we want to control the definition of what a libertarian is. And I don't think that controlling the definition of libertarian, who's a real libertarian, from the top down is a good idea. You need to fundamentally define for yourself what a libertarian is at the ground level. You need to show that it is a good person, a person with high moral characters, a person who aspires to American liberty. You need to have these principles and a culture of excellence. You need to build that from the bottom up. And then you'll define what libertarian is. It doesn't happen in 2 years. It probably doesn't happen in 4 years. It might take another 50 years. But fundamentally, you need to start from the bottom up. Excellence and high moral character to get a good definition, and that's decentralization, and it allows for good ideas and bad ideas to be accepted, and people can associate with each other. So basically, our little card that we'll get in more detail about later, and we'll probably rehash it, actually put up on the screen so people can see it. Right now, we're just kind of playing around.
It might be on the screen now.
I don't. Let's see. You able to get it? We're checking.
Anybody see?
Just testing. Testing.
I see it right now.
I don't see it on my phone right now, but
You might have a live.
my phone might be behind. It says I'm live. No, mine is 50 seconds. There it is. Okay. All right, so it's on the screen. So since it's on the screen, I'm gonna go through it one more time. So this is Aspirations for American Liberty. The United States has flourished through individual liberty and autonomy, which has stagnated under overbearing restrictions to those liberties. Our success is dependent on our ability to adapt and change in an evolving world and striving to better ourselves. We believe a consistent American is any individual who aspires to these principles: life, liberty, property, non-aggression, voluntary association, and decentralization. Decentralization eliminates the incentives of central control and basically bad people or figures from trying to dominate and control others, and the fighting that occurs from that. Voluntary association means that so long as you don't have a central controlling body, you can use voluntary association to separate yourself from people you don't like or don't want to live with. Non-aggression, it's fundamental. The non-aggression principle is fundamental. It's not a political slogan. It's not something written to keep the government from arresting libertarians. The non-aggression principle is a fundamental. And I'm going to treat it right now as a brute fact. We can probably get into reasons why, but it's a little too involved philosophically to really want to get too much deeper into that. Property is another fundamental thing. We're going to treat this as a brute fact as well. Property and respect for property is fundamental. It's what builds our society. If you respect others' property, you're not going to aggress upon them, and people being able to do with their property as they please is going to lead to more successful society. Liberty, being free to do what you want, so long as you're not hurting others. And then life, and we think life is a fundamental as well, where you need to respect other people's lives and not kill others. Some of these things we're kind of asserting right now, and I think that what we probably should do is in the future actually go through the card in a little bit better way, and instead of treating these items as brute facts or dogmas in a religious sense, we need to actually define them, explain them, and justify them. Prove them. Like you're proving, like in math class, we need to prove theorems and things. But for now, we're going to just assert them. And one day in the future, we'll get to the point where we can go. So this like little card that we have. So Chet and myself, we were in a fraternity, and in our fraternity, we had a set of principles, things like being a student of fair ability, a man of good character, blah blah blah, stuff like that. And so we thought we needed to have something that was a small card that had a quick blurb that then also had certain specific principles. And we thought that, and we're being very specific about American liberty. We're not focusing on trying to define what a libertarian is. We're trying to focus on American liberty. And so we have our statement on American liberty, and then our principles. And we think if we adhere to those principles, then American liberty will succeed. And I think also a lot of people are afraid right now, and they really need to be convinced, or they need to have principles of liberty brought back to them. Because I just see there's just so much fear, like you see in politics, where, oh my gosh, Trump is president, he's going to destroy the world. Or Kamala, if she was president, we're all going to go to jail. And I think that people have a lot of fear, and they also our society has kind of geared people towards. And I always mess this up. They gear people up towards high time preference. So high time preference is here and now. Low time preference is future kind of thing. So what I mean by that is like the Federal Reserve and inflation, monetary spending, things of that nature. It doesn't make sense to keep money in your pocket. It's better to spend it right away. Get it out. Get it out. Get it out. Because if you keep the money in your pocket, you're not going to be able to buy something in a month. Because it's worthless. And that's a little excessive. It's still the value decreases. So it doesn't make sense to save. And so I think what we're doing is we're encouraging, and also with like apps where we're constantly trying to get those dopamine hits. We're constantly trying to, oh, did I get a like? Did this happen? I got to respond to this guy. Instead of taking 5 minutes to actually think something through, we're not encouraged to do that. It's not profitable. It's not rewarding.
Speaking of not profitable and not rewarding, we have 3 likes. We have 5 live viewers. Please like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. And this is a little bit of a shit one because we're purposely just debugging, playing around, seeing what breaks.
Yeah.
We're seeing what breaks, what doesn't work, because we don't know what we're doing.
No. We're probably not going to ever get too much better because, I mean,
Yeah.
I think the point is that the message should be better than
Then the presentation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
think it needs to be super formal.
Yeah.
There's people who definitely do better presentations, and they're better public speakers. And we're a little incoherent because we're kind of just swinging it,
Yeah.
seeing what happens, messing around. But I mean, I think Chet explained it earlier why we're kind of doing this, and I agree with him that I think that at convention something we identified something at convention. I ran for VC because I identified that as well. I think we all know that there's a problem. We need to work towards something.
You correctly identified based on, even though you didn't win,
The
results.
response.
Yeah, the response.
Yeah. And I think there's a future. I think coming out of convention there was a positive reaction to it. I think that there's going to be a lot of struggle. I think that the high point right now is going to last only for so long, and then it's going to kind of drop off. But for now, I think it's pretty good. So, yeah. So, see what happens. I don't know if you had any other things to add. Been rambling a little while. I don't know how long. Oh, it's already 10:50. It's getting late. Jesus.
Yeah, well, you brought up my introduction, which is also pretty rambling.
Yeah.
But I wanted to know what you thought of what I said, because I said this is a bull session, 2 brothers,
Yep.
an interested observer, and a amateur activist.
Yeah.
Which I consider myself an interested observer.
Okay.
In that I listen to a few libertarian shows. I like to follow them live, when I can. And I listen to a couple of current events, political news things.
Yep.
So I'm an observer. I'm not particularly active.
Yeah.
But you are becoming more active. You have become active in the past year in the state. You made a splash and became somewhat known on the national stage for the party.
Yeah.
So I don't think you are. I think you're an amateur. I think there are things in your philosophy that you need to work on.
Yes.
You haven't. You have listened to a lot. You have absorbed a lot of information. You haven't necessarily. Good night to anyone going to bed.
Yeah. Well, we're wrapping up.
Yeah, we're wrapping up. So you're an interested observer.
Yeah.
Or I'm an interested observer. You are a amateur activist.
Yes.
Would you say that fits?
Yeah, I think that fits. Yep. I think that I do think that you can still be an observer and be a little more involved. I would definitely agree that I'm somewhat of an activist. I never want to be a professional activist. That's for sure. And I do in the future. I want to make sure that we're a little less rambling. I know today we've been playing around with the camera.
Yeah, we've been mentioning
seeing what happens, screwing around. So,
but I think we did what was in the title.
Yeah.
The technical difficulties we've dealt with. Some.
Yep.
And we went through the LNC.
Yeah, I think
so.
We went through the LNC. Yeah.
So in the future, I guess we can go through more specific topics. Like we have the card.
Yeah.
I think we need to dedicate some time to really going through that, and
probably should honestly dedicate a time for each one of these items.
That's true. Yeah.
Really, and then show how it affects. And one thing about like stuff as far as the LNC goes or Libertarian Party stuff, we don't want to be too drama-y yet. I'm not interested in drama that much. But the other thing is we don't need to be too in the weeds. Yeah. Meaning caring about bylaws is a waste of time. Caring about all these little rules and stuff doesn't really matter. And also like being obsessed about like procedure, like I don't know. Well, technically, this occurred before that, and then this. No, this is in the weeds stuff that it's not promoting liberty. It's not improving lives. And so, being a libertarian is more than being fixated on these little things. The Libertarian Party should not be it should not be politics for the dysfunctional.
Camera framing changing. Now I'm invisible. I'm going to turn off the LC.
Yeah. So, anyway, I don't really have anything else for today. We went longer than I was thinking we were going to. So I think we found the extent of the camera and things. I think we have a list of things to improve.
Yeah, we've got some things to improve. I think we had a decent discussion. I'm not sure. Oh, there it goes. That's easy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we had a fair discussion. Something to talk about. I think we'll start looking at like some topics and things. Yeah. I
think it's best to keep topics somewhat organic, because the way this happens organically with us is, we'll be listening to something while we're doing stuff working.
Yeah.
Like we're working 10, 12 hours a day, and
Yep.
we're consuming content online.
Yep.
Listening to a book or listening to a podcast,
Yes.
and we'll hear something, and now one of us will say that's interesting, or that's funny, or that's wrong.
Yeah.
And then we'll bring it up to each other.
Mhm.
And the problem with doing that in the middle of the day is that we are losing
We
time.
need to get work done.
Yeah, we need to get work done, and we end up standing there for a couple hours just talking about whatever's going on.
Yeah.
So this is this is a tool for you to hone your activism.
Yeah.
I guess
Mhm.
to hone your
To better present.
yes, better present your message, because for you that's more important because you have started down this path in an active sense.
Yes.
And for me, I do want to think more deeply on topics, and a wide range of topics. I mean, we've had discussions about everything from politics and religion to like cars.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I do enjoy having those conversations, and so for me, it's nice to be able to say, all right, we're going to sit down and do something.
Yep.
That, talk about it. And maybe, we've got a third seat here. Maybe we can, invite people someday, or maybe we'll figure out how to do a video call and have people on.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to tackle that yet. But
Yeah. Makes
For now.
sense.
for now, this is simple setup. We have a conference speaker. We have a GoPro. And we're streaming currently to 2 platforms. So I don't think anyone is watching on Kick.
Probably not.
Last I looked, there weren't any comments.
Yeah.
So primary streaming to YouTube. We might work on streaming to other platforms like Twitter or X, and maybe Rumble. But
Yeah.
For now, just starting a conversation.
Yeah, and this has been pretty free flow, and
Mhm.
we haven't really had anything. But I guarantee in the next few days, Chet and I will have a topic that we'll want to discuss in depth, and we're basically going to have to force ourselves to wait, and talk, which I think is a good thing because it'll allow us to think about it. Because a lot of times we're just spouting at each other, and then we go about things for like another couple hours, and then we go back at it.
Mhm.
I think this is a good way of saying, okay, let's discuss this fucking thing.
And for scheduling, if anyone cares, anyone is listening. For me, my wife works 24-hour shifts, and so she is day on, day off, day on, day off, and then she has 4 days off. So the schedule will be flowing. We're not going to have a set 7 p.m. on a Tuesday or 8 p.m. on a Wednesday.
Yep.
But typically, I think we're going to aim for after 8 p.m. because that is when shipping closes for FedEx, and that is the latest shipping that we have open around us. So we'll aim for 8 p.m., 8:30 if we're going to do something. And we will be putting those on, either what would that be? What schedule would that be? Hold on. We'd either be doing a Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule or a Tuesday, Thursday schedule.
Yeah.
So that might be, we might do this multiple times a week. We might only do it once a week. But the day might change. the time might change.
Yeah.
You
And
know.
we might also do stuff like I've been doing debates lately.
Mhm.
And I've been doing debates mainly to challenge myself because you can only convince yourself of the same thing so many times.
Mhm.
And so a debate is good to challenge yourself because people will think
Get
of
out
things.
of your echo chamber.
Yeah, people will think of things, and I think that's a positive. And so there might be some times where we just like talk about a debate that maybe I have gotten myself involved in, or so on and so forth. So anyway,
Yeah.
so I don't really have much more. I'm good. So
Yeah, we can talk about.
I don't know why I
Yeah,
keep
scheduling.
losing time on the live though.
I think that might just be our signal. Because
You think that's a
yeah,
signal?
Yeah, because we have the building around. It
Oh,
always
okay.
kind of knocks down on that.
Yeah, because I've been
There's-
losing.
Yeah, the stream, as far as I can tell, hasn't actually dropped out. Because that's running off. We're running off for behind. It drops for you a lot. Is it the stream dropping, Barthel, or is it on your end, you think? Because we have.
Yeah. Well, we
Yeah,
can
yeah.
watch the tape back afterwards.
Yeah, because we have a Starlink hooked up, and we're running off of that. But the receiver for it isn't right next to the computers in here, because it surfaces the whole
Building.
the whole building. So
Yeah. So
that might be running. That might be because we have other things connected and running on, like your laptop's connected to the Starlink, and then we have
Yeah.
several computers around the shop. So
it shouldn't be using data though right now.
yeah, I mean just the idle updates like some things down. So we can look at getting the signal going out to be
Mhm.
more solid. I think on our phones, just because we're watching along with this.
Yeah.
So we're half the viewers right now.
Yeah. We only have 4G.
Yeah.
We don't have full 5. We won't even have full bars.
Yeah, so I think that's why we're dropping out. And we don't have
Might
to
be.
follow along. We're only doing it because we don't have we can't see the live chat and interact with it
Yeah.
organically through the because we're not right at the computer. I can see it. I can't interact with it too well. I can't really read what the chat says from here.
Yeah. There might be a few times where we do something at the house. So like at my house, we're working on cleaning some stuff up, but I'm planning on I don't know exactly when on having and this is stuff for people that are local.
Yeah.
I'm planning on having it so that people can come over. We can discuss topics, do different things, work on things. And
Yeah.
maybe
Or
we'll
more-
stream some of that, like where we're discussing or working on an issue.
Yeah.
You know, kind of live on the
Because
fly.
this is a nice
Convenient.
Yeah, convenient. It's convenient for us. It's enough space for I would say 2 to 3 people. But,
Yep.
No.
Gets hot.
It gets warm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a workshop.
Yeah.
It's a workshop. Come to you live from the shop. And yeah, that's about all you can expect from it. And I really don't want to go down the rabbit hole to where we have $20,000 of gear.
No.
Doing a whole
No,
production.
we're not pros.
Yeah.
And I also want to make
no hate to no hate to anyone who is a pro. Like I know the Swamp, they have it figured out.
Yeah.
Swampcast.
Well, I don't think they have 20,000 in gear, but they have nice stuff though.
Yeah, they streamed the whole convention live and it was almost flawless.
Yeah.
So like I don't have the technical knowledge for that. I don't really I want to be able to have a basic knowledge and be able to do this kind of basic stuff, maybe a little more interactive with the output. Like if we could be able to put up a video, put up a picture to interact with,
Yeah. So anyway,
It stopped being full.
yeah, I don't know if it's coming from us. What we can do to test that is maybe we can do one from my house where I have cable internet.
Yeah.
And we can see if we can see if it's different.
Yeah.
Because I do know the Starlink once in a while blips here and there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we're talking through a dish that is talking to a satellite in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Outer atmosphere.
I'm back.
And then back. And so yeah.
There's gonna be some lag.
So, yeah.
There's gonna be some delay. So we'll see. But we can play with running it like off the cable at my house and see what happens there.
Yeah.
But that's something we can worry about another time. So
Yeah. But again, technical difficulties.
Yep.
I would say as a baseline, it seems like we've done okay.
yeah, we've been done fine. So
Yeah.
so yeah. So we probably should wrap up though, because
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have a feeling that Mrs. will be like, "Are you coming home yet, or what?"
Yeah. So, well, anyone still watching? I know Barfu is still in the chat.
It says 5, so there's more than just Barfo. It says 5.
I might not be updated.
I don't know.
But, oh,
Cool.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
And I think we had a good conversation.
I think we had a good conversation. What we need to do is just for the next week or however long until we decide to go live again, we should just, when we have an item we want to talk about, write it down, maybe make a couple bullet points, and then we can discuss it.
What's today, Friday?
Today's Friday.
I think Wednesday. Yeah, I think Wednesday would be the next day that my wife is working.
Yeah.
And so, scheduling wise, expect Wednesday or Friday.
Or Tuesday.
Tuesday, maybe, yeah.
Tuesday, because we're used to
Yeah.
doing stuff on Tuesdays.
Tuesday would be nice, just because that is.
And some Wednesdays we do have meetings locally. I see a blip there. It is dropping
Yeah.
out.
I think that's the camera going dead again. So.
It might be that we just have a bad battery.
Yeah.
This is an old camera.
So.
It might just be a bad battery.
All right.
All right.
We'll call it there, folks.
Have fun.
Thank you for joining us for the.
Glad you stopped in, Barfo. It was great seeing you though during convention. That was fun. That was great fun.
All right. So thank you for joining us for the first episode of Manufacturing for Liberty. We will get better.
Yeah. Yeah.